Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I have decided to sit down, ready to review my first Third Time's a Charm video. So the plan is for this: I'm going to give each part 5 minutes, each film 5 minutes. So 5 minutes per film. I'm not saying I have to use all 5 minutes. It could be over a lot sooner than that, but I don't want to go over 5 minutes, making it like a 40-minute episode of a film review, whatever it is. We are starting, as we're pretty close to Halloween. I thought we'd start with something that's a bit horror-ish, monster movie-ish, I suppose. And I've decided to start with Placid. I keep looking this way because it's currently on my screen, and I'm going to show you why in a second. This is actually a four-parter. People may not realise there were sequels to this film, but I do. I know this. I know Mike knows this, and I thought I'd start with this. I remember when the first one came out, I remember seeing the first one, but I remember when I saw the first one, I thought it was more of a high-budget film. I haven't seen this yet, but just judging from the title screen for the DVD, I have not got high hopes. But I think it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to get into talking about the film. Hopefully, it can only get better than this. Than this. What is this? Welcome to Lake Placid! Okay, film's just finished and timer is going. I don't think it's going to take me 5 minutes to even sum up what I've just watched. It's actually okay. I haven't seen this film in years. I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through properly. But it was genuinely okay. You can see that it's got a bigger budget feel to it. The last film I can think of watching of this series is the final chapter, which is number 4, which I found out is not the last one. There's another one called Lake Placid Legacy after that. Anyway, the shark effects, I'm thinking about Jaws, the crocodile effects in that are pretty damn awful, and I'm looking forward to seeing how bad they get from now on. The crocodile effects in this seemed okay. There are points in it where it looks like it's actually done pretty well. I can imagine that some of this is genuine crocodile footage, and some is animatronic, and you can see the bits that are like that, but if you go back and watch the old Jaws, you can see the bits that are animatronic and the bits that are just filmed from just seeing a shark in the water. It's done well. I didn't mind it. The character, I can't believe that I'd completely forgotten bits of this. So Oliver Platt, I think his name is, who was in Dr. Dolittle. That's what I know him from. And that's pretty much all I know him from. And then Brendan Gleeson's in this, so it was really cool seeing Mad Eye Moody with a shotgun, basically, blowing the head off a crocodile. There's a bit of a twist to the end where they're like, oh, there's 2 crocodiles, but the second one does not look like it's on the same scale, crocodile pun intended, as the actual main crocodile. The actual big twist that I actually thought was really, really cool, really funny, was Betty White having a colony of crocodiles and being their mother in a way, and her husband getting killed by the crocodile, and she has this weird connection to them, which does come back in later films. I know that for a fact because I remember watching the final chapter and being like, who are they talking about? Turns out it's Betty White, and I didn't remember. The dialogue in this film is hilarious. There are bits in this where I'm like, they have to know they are being funny. They are purposely doing this to be funny, and it works. It works fine. It's not taking itself too seriously, and it shouldn't, and that's good. I didn't mind that. There are literal sections where I was actually laughing at things that the characters were doing and saying. Right at the end, when they've trapped the main crocodile, they've killed the last one, if they're not going for comedy with this, I'd be amazed. They tried to bait it with a cow dangling from a helicopter. The helicopter then crashes and the crocodile gets trapped in it. And the cow actually survives and moves across everyone looking at this giant crocodile. I mean, it was just so funny to watch. So for a first film, it's not terrible. It's I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, and this is going to be a very subjective thing. It's going to be very subjective as the fact that I'm not talking about if it's the charm, if the third film is the charm for everyone. If it is for me, and if I think to a point, if I think it is for everyone, but if it works well as a third film, if the series doesn't suffer for having it as a third film, if that makes sense. I've probably picked a terrible first film for this series, because I know for a fact it's about to get worse. But if it works, it works. It's a stupid monster sort of movie, giant crocodile movie, that didn't take itself too seriously. So I'm looking forward to seeing the other two, because the other two physically can't take themselves too seriously from now on, surely. The fact it ended with Bay White with her feet in water, with like little baby crocodiles coming around, and she's like, "Eat mommy's feet," was the weirdest thing. And she had some funny lines in this. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film, in fairness. I probably shouldn't have done, but I did. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the other two bring forward to me. So let's move on to Lake Placid 2. One thing I am going to mention, just because I feel like I didn't mention it in the What Is This video, and I didn't mention it in this one yet, spoilers for whatever I talk about in this. I don't filter myself when it comes to spoilers, and I'm pretty sure that I will ruin everything that happens in all three of these films, especially the big plot points. So yeah, if you really want to watch Lake Placid, you better get watching it before you watch me talking about them. Lake Placid 2 took them 7 years, and in those 7 years they decided to completely forget everything, it seems. Like, they mentioned parts of the story in the last one, but apart from that, that was about it. The effects obviously are a lot worse. It's now a B movie, so the effects are a lot worse. There's a part of it where he's shooting a gun. I think it's a tranquilizer gun at one of the crocodiles. Which is literally a BB gun. You can see the air canister at the bottom of it and everything. It's literally a BB gun. Yeah. None of the actors I really cared about. It was all very tropey. It's all very B-movie-esque. The crocodiles look awful. They don't really explain why there's multiple in this still. No, I guess they do actually, because they do it in the first one. But if you haven't seen the first one, I know most people have probably seen the first one and have gone from the first one to this one, but it's been a long time. Like, some people might have just been going through Sci-Fi Channel, I assume this went on to, because it's that sort of movie. Some people probably just went onto the Sci-Fi Channel and saw this was on and just clicked it, not knowing about the first one. The old woman in this one was played by someone that was in the middle. The man in the middle, I believe it is. I think it's the middle. She's in something, and I was like, okay, I get this. This is like Betty White was in the first one, and she's an old woman that we know from things, and I know this one. So I'm hoping the third one has that too. That has an old woman in it that I know from something else to follow the pattern. But this was awful. This wasn't even a good B movie. This was terrible. It's just the effects in this. There's a scene where they've got a helicopter that can land on water, and that is the most photoshopped thing I think I've ever seen. It didn't look natural at all. It didn't look real. It didn't land on the water for a start. Yeah, this is not good. This is a terrible B movie, but it's terrible in general. So, we've watched 2. Hopefully the third one is worth watching. I'm about to watch that. No, I won't watch it now. I'll give myself some time. And then I'll watch the third one. But yes, we're struggling. But we're going to pull through. Hopefully the third one... I spoke to Mike about this when I told him about the second one. He was like, that sounds terrible, but you know the third one's worse. I'm sure we watched the third one together, me and him. And he said, you remember the third one's worse, right? I can't imagine anything's worse than this. I remember watching the fourth one and finding a lot of fun in it. And I'm hoping that that's also the third one that I'm thinking about. Because this wasn't even fun. I was waiting for this to end. By the end of, by even like the first 20 minutes, I was like, can you please just end now? Because I'm done. Yeah. Please, third one. Make up for what I've just seen. So, Lake Placid 3, start. It's took me a lot longer to get around to this than I wanted it to, so we're not actually that close to Halloween, as I said in probably the first video. It's now like mid-November, but we've watched it, we've seen it. I remember this one a lot more than I remember the first one, and the second one for definite. I've definitely seen the second one, I just don't remember it at all. This was good. It's too long. It's way too long for a B movie, but it's not too bad. It's better than the second by far. I remember this film so well, and I don't know why. I know I've watched it once at least with Mike, and I remember enjoying it then. There's like a quote in this film. They're having like a domestic dispute while crocodiles are attacking them, and the sheriff turns around and goes, "I'm gonna go and see what shampoo you guys use," and just walks off. And it was so funny at the time. Forgotten about it completely. Saw it in this and remembered it, and the good memories that it brought back. They seem to struggle with size of crocodiles in this. It's like meant to be this huge, threatening, intimidating thing, but then when it's in the water, it looks like it's 2 foot, and then when it comes out of the water, it looks like it's 25 foot. Hey ho, it's something we'll get over, I suppose. It is a B movie. There's a scene where the crocodile runs. A couple of the crocodiles run like 50 miles an hour to catch up with someone that's miles away from them. But when they're in the water, it takes them ages to swim to a boat. And when they get to a boat, to this boat, they bite it once and it evaporates. It literally evaporates. There's no sign that there's a boat in that water anywhere. There's some cheesy dialogue, hilarious dialogue. There's a lot of naked people in this. There was naked people in the second one. I think the first one maybe as well. Do these actresses and actors get paid more for that? Because it seems to happen a lot in B movies. And there was a scene, and it was hilarious, where 2 people are having sex by the lake, and one of the crocodiles bites his ankle and pulls him. She's on top, and pulls him, so then his head ends up somewhere. And she's like, "This is what I was talking about." That got a genuine laugh from me. That they thought about this. They thought about that. Like, the one before this and some other B movies don't really like think about these things. I suppose they're just like, it doesn't really matter. But this is funny. This is thinking, and it's very funny, and I like it. I like that about this film. There's a character in this, Reba. The name is literally on the screen there, played by Yancy Butler from the look of it. She's in a lot of B movies. I've recognised her, so I had a look, and she's in a lot of B movies. And I'm very upset she dies in this, because it would have been hilarious for her character to sort of like be the same in all of them. I bet no one thought that through though, and that's why it didn't happen. But it would have been so funny if they made it through. And at the end of this, the main bloke who's in the next one, I remember that, who's also in Eureka, and Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell's in this too. It's a bit of a crazy cast. At the end of this, they're all stood around a lake, and he's like talking about it, and he goes, "Don't worry guys, they're extinct." And we get like a jump scare that a crocodile jumps and tries to bite the camera. But it was pretty obvious, if they can do maths, that they weren't extinct. They killed all but one. And even I saw that, like, even I could figure that out. I'm not saying I'm stupid or anything, maybe I am. But like, 3 crocodiles were attacking them in, the crocodile as well, the crocodiles follow them into the town, so the crocodiles are now just wandering around the town, which is hilarious. But yeah, they follow them into the supermarket, and there's 3 of them in there. We see 2 of those die. Clearly there's one left. And then there was a little baby one that went past as well, right at the end. So yeah, you knew they were making a sequel from this. You could see they were planting the seeds. But I loved this. This was good. I enjoyed this. If it was a little bit shorter, it would have been better, but what are you going to do? And we had 37 seconds left, so this was probably the longest one of me talking about these films, of the 3 of them. But I'm finally finished with them now. I'm glad that I sat through all 3. The third one was definitely the most I remember, the one I remember the most, and my second favourite. The first one's always going to be my favourite. The second one's it's awful. And the third one was actually okay. I've got the 4th one. I remember seeing it and liking that one about as much as I enjoyed the 3rd one. And there's a 5th, and I don't think I'll ever see it. Maybe it will one day. I'm sure I'll get around to it. So yeah, Third time for me on this one was the charm, because the third one was good, the second one wasn't. But the third one, they sort of realised how to make this into a very, very good B-movie. So, yeah, strangely enough, for the first one, we're sat here and saying, yes, third time was the charm. I hope you enjoyed this series, I suppose, that I've just thrown together in one video, and hopefully we'll do some more in the future. I've got other ones I've planned that I definitely want to try and get around to doing. So yeah, we're gonna get into this a little bit more. Yeah, I enjoyed watching these three again. Second one, maybe not as much, but this one was good. I might try and get other people involved to watch it with, so I'll have more to talk about it with. Like, even if I know Mike doesn't really come on the channel much, but even if me and him sat and watched like a couple of films together, yeah, it could be interesting, because it might give me some more opinions and ideas to throw into the video. But yeah, this was good for me. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you again in the next one.